Coming up on TekThing, you can run Netgear's latest Orbi in the rain, people. Games that don't need a lot of expensive hardware. Alternatives to canned air are kind of loud and more. It's all coming up on TekThing. Thank you, patrons. Without your support via patreon.com/TekThing, we wouldn't be here to make the show for you each and every week. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing. And a big thank you to our patrons Joe, Matthew, Edward, and Peter. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Okay, so he brought that thing out, and my first reaction was just... scared me. As I spill coffee everywhere.
You know what? It's not like we have the machines I feed my children, you feed your... I feed my cats too.
I feed my cats with this machine.
Remember, kids, you should never have coffee next to incredibly expensive equipment full of priceless data, unless you back up regularly. So back up.
Well, this brings us to our first tweet.
John, a.k.a. JWBrin, tweets at everyone. Do you use canned air or canned air alternatives to clean out your computer system? If you use canless, what do you use?
Oh.
And so I'm screwing around on Amazon trying to remember what I'm looking for, and Robert Heron responds and goes, picked up one of these years ago, and it served me well.
What is it? What is this thing?
This thing is the DataVac Computer Duster and Cleaner, super powerful electronic dust blower, environmentally friendly.
Oh boy.
Okay, so this thing I'm holding up, that looks like a 50. It
looks like a little miniature shop vac.
Yes, a miniature shop vac or a clothes steamer or
yeah.
I'm DuXL and I'm going to take over your planet, human.
So funny.
In any case, this is Metro's DataVac Electric Duster, deliberately, they say, deliberately made in the USA, all steel, built to last. Seriously, you could drive tent pegs with this thing. There are an assortment of tips and ends on it that are all plastic. Though I recommend you kind of keep your distance when you're blowing the scum out of your machine, but they've got like a narrow tip, a wide tip.
Like take your machine outside.
The super fine dusting tip.
Oh, that's nice. I like that one. That's great.
Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy stuff. It's actually, it's not cheap, right? $79.50 on Amazon. But before you go too much, that's actually a mere 5.36 packs of canned air.
Wow.
Yeah, from Amazon, not from your local office shop. And unlike the inflammable canned air that Robert once used to turn a hot projector into a flaming torch, not a joke, you won't have to worry about fire or running out of air, at least as long as you have a source of 120 volt electricity.
Very important.
Kyle over at HardOCP, he actually jumped on this thread. He said he ordered one on May 30th, 2012, bought this after the garage air compressor was a bit too much air for the insides of a fragile PC.
Interesting.
Hate it when you blow components off the motherboard. It has served me well, use it all the time, especially when helping my less tidy PC friends. Quote, when you come over, leave your PC in the driveway. Have you ever opened up a case and found like a cat inside of it?
You know, pretty much. I mean, with all the cat hair, I probably could build my own little kitten out of all the hair and fur and dust that settles inside of those things. You'd be surprised, like after half a year, how much dust collects in a PC.
That's why all of my PC cases, almost all of them, all but like one, have removable, washable filters and all the entrances.
That's so nice.
By the way, as Cal would tell you, nothing says oops like blowing surface mount components off of a motherboard.
Oh no!
So John, we hope this helps. If you have a shop vac that's reversible, you might pick up some tiny hose adapters and use that. Though frankly, the DataVac is built like all tools should be to last the rest of your natural life and well into your grandchildren. It's a serious piece of kit. It's really loud. Ask Robert. It's not mine alone.
Oh,
check with Robert. I borrowed Robert's.
I'll ask Robert if I can borrow it.
Yeah, I know people who work with these like every day. I don't know of anyone that's killed one. So.
Well, I won't kill it, I promise. I just need to take care of some cat fur issues.
Whatever you do, don't turn that on in the room with the cat there.
No, I would never do that. I will take this outside before I do anything. If you have any suggestions or any questions about cleaning out your own PCs, let us know. You can tweet us at TekThing or email us ask@tekthing.com.
In case we didn't make it abundantly clear when we talked about the DataVac.
Oh no.
It's kind of loud.
Yep.
You should use hearing protection.
Yes. It's very loud.
I just wanted to say that. It's also freaking awesome.
I just think you have fun pressing that button.
We all love to press buttons. Come on, you were grabbing it and like.
Yeah, I pretty much was.
Actually, wait.
No. No, 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 no.
She looked like she was on the back of a Harley with her hair streaming backwards.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, actually.
For pre-show only, and maybe patrons. I generally do not run a hose on Wi-Fi routers or mesh devices, but this is Netgear's ORBI RBS50Y. It's their new outdoor satellite, and it's slinging packets in the rain, or at least underneath the hose.
This is so weird.
It is weird. Well, Orbi's not really kidding about outdoors. The 5 and an IP56 rating on the satellite means it's dust protected, as in basically dust can get inside of it, but not enough to actually enter in quantities that will interfere with the satisfactory operation of the equipment. And the 6 in IP56 means it's good for water projected from powerful jets against the enclosure from any direction, shall have no harmful effects.
Wow.
3 minutes minimum, 12.5 millimeter jets, 26 gallons of water per minute, which is a fair amount of water.
So you can literally stick this thing under a hose.
You can leave it in the storm, you can spray it with the hose, you can leave it out in the nor'easter. Don't throw it in the pool or the tub, kids.
Good to know.
And assuming you don't strap it to your truck and run it through a silt bed in Baja, dust shouldn't make it in, at least not enough dust to make a difference.
So why in the world would you want an outdoor satellite instead of just indoor ones?
For the pool.
For the
computing
pool?
in the backyard.
For the fancy people with pools?
Well, or the fancy people with backyards. So, in case you haven't heard us talk about Netgear, their Orbi before, it is the fastest mesh system I've tested in my home. One of the big features of it is a dedicated 1733 megabit per second, 5 gigahertz radio backhaul, which basically means big, fat wireless connection that is just for these things to talk to each other. There's an Ethernet backhaul option now that's been added since my Orbi review. But with Orbi's RBR50, the router, the main box in the front of my house, and a single RBS50Y in the back, I have reception over our entire 5,000 square foot lot. Though it slows to 25 megabit per second in the back of the garage at the far end of the property. And page load times are brutal. 6 seconds is not unusual, which is 5 seconds too long. I will discuss in a moment.
Okay.
So many problems with the interwebs back there. You know, by the time it's gotten to my garage, it's gone from the current router, it's gone through horsehair plaster, exterior stucco, the garage wall, the garage interior wall. There's 2 giant steel cabinets, one inflammables cabinet and a tool cabinet.
You've legit got a Faraday cage going on in there.
Yes.
Okay.
I live in a 100-year-old Faraday cage that I added steel to. So when Netgear announced the RBS50Y, which is this critter right here, which is a little bigger than their regular satellites, I was really curious to see if it could speed up the connection to the machine in the garage and in the entire backyard. For reasons that shall remain secret, I'm not running Ethernet to the garage yet. There's no Ethernet ports on this thing because IP56, so you're using Orbi's wireless backhaul, which is fine. It is stupid fast. You've got power and a reset button on the back under some really, really nice seals. The default name and password are on the back, which you'll probably want to change or hide, although if you mount it to the wall, nobody's going to see it anyway. And the mount is fairly secure. It comes with both a stand and a mount, a good selection of hardware, and a lock to hold it in place. The lock is essentially 2 screws that hold the bracket to lock it onto the mounting bracket just to keep people from lifting it off. So if you're in a place where folks steal things because they can, I'm thinking of the Jersey Shore now, because things just disappeared for no good reason.
Just mount it then.
Yeah, well, mount it using ridiculous hardware or use some weird security screws for that lock. And do yourself a favor, you can actually hit a button and turn off the LEDs so it's less noticeable.
Oh, that's cool.
There is a 10-foot long power cord, but it's got a fat wall wart at the end that's kind of difficult to plug into some outdoor outlets, especially the ones with the little weatherproof boxes. You might need to improvise, adapt, and overcome to plug it in. Setup literally took, I don't know, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. You power this up next to your primary Orbi router. You hit the sync button on the back. You hit the sync button on the router. You wait some more. Okay, maybe it took like 10 minutes. When the LED on the top turns blue, your satellite has a happy and the sync button is disabled. You actually have to go into the app to resync, which is good. It makes it kind of pointless if you're able to steal yours. When you place this, if you get a magenta or an amber light, it means you either have no signal from the main router or a weak signal and you need to try another location, or your main router is off.
Okay.
So make sure your main router is off before you climb up on a ladder and tear this thing down. And let me be abundantly clear, you need to use this with an Orbi router. It is not standalone and it will not work without a Netgear Orbi router. You need to add this to your existing mesh network system.
It's an add-on.
It's an add-on. You know, it's another, basically, it's a different kind of satellite for the Orbi system. So the results. Best case scenario, close to the satellite or connected to it via Ethernet, I get over 400 megabits per second in my house.
Whew.
Yeah, that's like running iPerf. That's a speed
awesome.
test. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the back bench of my garage, it's about 23 megabits per second.
That's a big difference.
Yes. Yes, and it's much worse than that because for one particular web page, graphics heavy web page, like I will load it and then I will clear the cache and load it again.
Yeah.
The page load times are like 6 seconds.
Oh man.
It's awesome when you restart. It's when you restart 57 tabs and you're sitting there in the backyard going, woo, 200 megabits per second down.
If you said 6 seconds like 10 years ago, then I'd be like, oh, it's not bad.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
So with the Orbi Outdoor on the back of my porch, taking several layers of plaster out of the situation, I got about 32 megabits per second. My math sucks, but we'll call that a 50% jump.
Okay.
More important to me, my page load times were cut by half.
Wow.
Yes, like from 6.2 seconds to 2.97 seconds for the page I am thinking of. I have a suspicion I can get those numbers, well, I can get the throughput higher and the page load times lower, but I'll have to spend a lot of quality time playing with the location for the outdoor satellite. Let me just say this, if you're an Orbi owner that wants to work way out in the backyard, this has potential. I suspect Netgear's 2,500 square foot coverage estimate is lowballing it, which is good because IP56 ain't cheap. A standard RBS50 Orbi, the satellite, the indoor version, costs $216. This one runs $330. That's the outdoor expansion satellite.
Yeah, it's pricey.
Now, if you're connecting, say, a barn a couple hundred yards away, this is not the gear to roll with. There's a whole different situation there. But I got to say, in my house, we are incredibly happy with Netgear's Orbi mesh system. I keep returning to it. I have used 6 different Wi-Fi systems and several routers in the last year.
Jeez, dude.
Want to have a happy spouse? Just roll through 3 different routers in a weekend.
Oh no. That's
oh
a bad
yeah.
idea. With all the video games Keith plays at home, I don't know. That would not go over so well.
No, it would like a Led Zeppelin.
If you have any networking questions, I would love to hear them from you, and so would Patrick, being our networking guru here.
I don't know if I'm guru yet. I aspire.
Wondering what Patrick was doing setting up IPv6 in his house? I'm curious.
Email. ask@tekthing.com. We'll talk all about it. It is barely July. It is hot, but let us remind you, we love your questions, your tips, and your suggestions and products and ideas to check out. There are so many of you, and you have so many cool things. Talk to us. You can tweet at TekThing, at Snubs, or at Patrick Norton, or just email ask@tekthing.com. And a big thank you to our patrons at patreon.com/TekThing. You pay the bills, you make the show possible. Our thanks to you. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing. Dominic tweeted out at TekThing, catching up, appreciate the gaming laptop reviews. People on a serious budget might reconsider their games. I have an ancient laptop running Ubuntu, and I'm able to play great games like Broforce and FTL, which will basically play on a potato. Lots of great indies and work on Linux. I love this thought.
Yeah, this is really, really interesting. You actually showed us a link from Steam, right?
Yeah, it says something that several of the top 5 games on Steam were originally, they were released in, I think, 2012, 2013, and 2015.
Yeah.
So I doubt that any of those are particularly taxing at 1080p. Like, there we go, Dota 2.
Counter-Strike Go is down here, CSGO. Let's see. Team Fortress 2, that's an old school one.
Yeah.
At least now it's kind of old school.
It's also funny because if you go by the current player count, these games fluctuate a lot during the day.
Yes,
so
they
several
do.
of the games I'm thinking of, I guess they're played more at midday, but not so much later in the afternoon.
Totally fascinating.
Rocket League was not in the top 10
really
this
enjoying
morning.
looking at like how many games people play during the day and the crazy amount of differences. Like, why are so many people playing games at 7 a.m.? I don't know.
Because they can do it before work or before school.
Oh, I guess so. I never played games in the morning.
She's not a morning gamer, people.
No, I am not a morning person. But there is a great website for learning if games will run on your computer. It's called systemrequirementslab.com, and you can see that over on my computer. There's 2 different ways that you can use this site. Either you can download their portable app that tells you whether or not a game should run on your machine, and it connects to the website, and the website learns what your hardware is and tells you whether or not it's up to spec. Or you can just not download it and just compare the specs that are listed on their site compared to what you currently have in your computer. So if you're paranoid like I am sometimes, times, then you might just want to go with that second
What is
option.
this app that I will give full access to my PC?
Right, exactly.
I think not.
So I did choose some older games that are still like awesomely cool, and some of my favorites from back in my like college days and the days right after college.
Several years ago.
Many
Or in my
years
case,
ago.
several decades ago.
Not that old. So the
I
first
am.
one is Left 4 Dead. This game is so much fun. It runs on either an NVIDIA 7600 or an ATI X1600 or better, at least Intel Core 2 Duo with 2.4 gigahertz and 1 gig of RAM and 8 gigs of space. So I think
1 gig of RAM.
1 gig of RAM. Yeah, that was surprising for me. And then I also chose Minecraft. So Minecraft, lot lower needs in this one. And all you need is an Intel Core i3, 3.2 gigahertz. RAM, you need 2 gigs, so a little bit more RAM. Intel HD graphics, so you can do just integrated
It's
graphics
2D.
4000. Or AMD Radeon R5 series. Or you can also do discrete graphics. An NVIDIA GeForce 400 or an AMD Radeon HD 7000 will all work just fine with Minecraft. Of course, those are the minimum specs, so it might not run that great, but it will run.
If you have an Android or an iPhone or an iPad or an Android tablet, it'll
Yep.
run Minecraft.
Yep. And if you are totally into FPSs, CSGO, you saw it on the list on Steam, that's still something that a lot of my friends play too. All that one requires is an Intel Core 2 Duo, 2 gigs of RAM, 256 megs for a video card, anything that pretty much uses DirectX 9, and 8 gigs of space, and that's pretty much it. But if you want to go a little bit more high level with the graphics, Skyrim also doesn't require too much these days.
These days.
Yeah, these days. Back then, I thought it was very heavy, but now I'm like, oh, well, you could use a 10-year-old, 15-year-old laptop just fine with Skyrim. Dual-core 2.0 gigahertz or equivalent processor, 2 gigs of RAM, DirectX 9, again, some video card that has DirectX 9 with 512 megs of RAM, like an NVIDIA GeForce,
Right.
or like a 7600 GT or an ATI Radeon X1800, and then you need that 6 gigs of RAM.
Woo!
So a little bit more there.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to
good.
realize that these were challenging games 8 or 10 years ago.
know.
But they're still really awesome games. Another classic you picked out was Portal.
Yeah, Portal is one of my favorites.
Brace for impact.
So much
a
fun.
3 gigahertz dual core 2.0 or higher,
Yep.
8 gigs of space. That's 8 gigs on your hard drive, a gigabyte of RAM, and a video card that is DX9 compatible.
Yep.
Uh,
But I got, what is Broforce?
it's a game.
He mentioned that in his
I
message.
had never heard of Broforce before, so
I'd never heard of it either, and I was just like, what? Broforce?
Broforce.
Bro.
Bro,
Oh my gosh.
with lions.
I mean,
no,
just
that's an eagle.
that
That's an eagle,
looks so
Patrick.
cool.
When evil threatens the world calls on Broforce, an underfunded, overpowered paramilitary organization dealing exclusively in excessive force. It looks like a side-scroll shooter, which
That
is to
is
say,
awesome.
to awesome.
Oh, also I said 6 gigs of RAM for Skyrim. I actually meant 6 gigs of drive space. Just putting it out there before anybody else comments below. Yes, I found that correction. And
to
then
know.
it's 2 gigs of RAM. So
2
that's
gigs of
actually
RAM.
what you need for Skyrim. Yeah,
Which
so
is-
still very low.
Oh my goodness,
Isn't that amazing?
it's awesome.
Okay, so Broforce looks awesome.
FTL. I just all I can say is FTL is freaking awesome. That's just all I'm going to say. And it's 75% off and 80% off on the iPad in the Steam
Cool.
Summer Sale promo.
Ooh, I love Steam summer sales.
Oh my goodness.
They're the best.
I still probably spend more time on Rocket League than anything else these days.
Rocket League's huge in my household too.
Yeah, it too will run practically on a potato, a slightly faster potato than some of the potatoes we've mentioned in the show today. But it's also very friendly to short bouts of gaming because most of my
yeah.
in-depth strategy gaming these days involves parenting my children. Something I did enjoy, I caught a Windows Central article, great PC games you don't need an expensive GPU to enjoy. Rich Edmonds wrote this up for them. This was back as GPU prices soared in 2017. Euro Truck Simulator 2.
Oh,
I have to say,
no.
the description of this was so compelling, I may spend the 20 bucks to buy it. No.
Oh man.
I just want to say, this is the writer has. It's just I'm tempted. I'm tempted.
Yeah, that game. It's just so ridiculous.
Oh my goodness. I love it when we have questions and y'all have answers, which brings us to an email from Jesse. AskTekThing.com is where he emailed, and he's got some thoughts on VMware's vSphere and ESXi and Hyper-V. He writes, vSphere is the overall product family. ESXi is the actual bare metal hypervisor. Even though ESXi is a data center enterprise-grade product, it is very useful for home labs and small businesses. I have both an ESXi and a Hyper-V lab server in my home for testing new updates, different operating systems, software, and patches. This brings me to another free hypervisor, which is Hyper-V. Hyper-V can be run on Windows 10 Pro desktops as a Class 2 hypervisor like VMware Workstation. This is actually what I run my Kali VMs on with my Windows 10 machines. You can also install Hyper-V as a bare metal hypervisor like ESXi and install your guest operating systems on top of it. It is free in both Class 1 and Class 2 iterations.
Cool.
Jesse.
And we also got a message from Jay in Ohio who adds, ESXi is great and we use it in the enterprise, but for me, XCP-ng is the best. XCP-ng is a new open source project that is a little easier to use, and there are some really great videos from Lawrence Technology on how to get started with it. From Jay in Ohio. Thank you both. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jay. Really appreciate the information, and thank you for letting us share it with everybody else who watches the show in case they are interested.
There are thousands of you. There are 2 of us, and some of you, many of you, damn near all of you, are so smart. A big thank you to Hack5 for the studio space. Check out the Security and Privacy Podcast. That's hack5.org that you're looking at right now. Then check out the superior pen testing and USB automation tools over at hack5.org/gear. And you know, I was already right there, and I'm just going to click on that link for the USB rubber ducky. I love USB rubber duckies. Because, you know, they're not just pen testing tools, they're ways to amaze and terrify your friends. Looks like a flash drive, types like a keyboard, a very, very fast keyboard.
It's my favorite.
It's awesome.
It's great for trolling people.
I have 2 words for you. Payload. And not even, you know, scary, evil payloads. Just a little something, something to make the neighbors nervous and your children hate you. Did I say that out loud? The whole...
You definitely did.
Don't use pen testing tools for evil, use them for good.
Exactly.
Please.
And remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, close the laptop, and do something analog like Blasted Human, who tweeted out, At TekThing, did I do something analog? You decide. I learned the basics of using a sewing machine. I finished my first project. True, I did learn it on YouTube. I didn't go outside, and my first project was a projector screen. I think it turned out well.
Outstanding.
Dude, that is so cool.
I love sewing.
What?
Yeah. Actually, I learned how to use a machine when I was 12. I've been sewing since I was a very small child.
That's awesome.
And it definitely counts as something analog. Machine or hand or God help you using a sailmaker's palm and needle. If you've never done that, boy, it's an experience. Actually, oddly enough, in strange synchronicity, my wife and I were helping my son learn how to use one of our sewing machines this weekend.
Aww.
We need to get the vintage Kenmore. My son's been using service because it's driving him mad.
Oh.
Tension issues. Thread tension issues suck. Sorry. I'm Better Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. Also, the pre-July 4th fireworks started last night.
Oh, yeah.
Which, the worst year out here, they started 5 days before July 4th.
Yeah, I already saw my July 4th fireworks on June 30th at the fair.
At the fair.
Which was very cool.
Did you go to Alameda County Fair?
No, I went to Marin County.
Ooh,
yeah.
A fancy fair.
I guess, I don't know.
I'm just letting you.
They're all fancy to me. I
Marin
went
County
to fairs in Missouri growing up.
The fair in Alameda looks just like a fair in freaking, Kenosha County.
Cool!
I'm just saying.
That's my style.
It's,
I'm all about the dart game. I won 2 toys at the dart game this weekend. It was awesome. I'm so proud of myself.
I ended up at the San Joaquin County Fair with a friend of mine who grew up in London.
Oh.
And he was very intoxicated at the end of the evening. And we were wandering through the 4-H area with all the livestock. He said, "You didn't tell me there'd be livestock." I was like, would you have believed me if I told you? I'm like, this is what we do. This is a county fair. You should see the state fair. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, you'll love it.
Oh, that's so funny.